had any Mountain Dew, but I have had copious amounts of water.
Good.
Apparently still offline.
It takes a little while to come back online once it started streaming.
Yeah.
Usually.
This had better not give me an advert because I will punch someone.
Paying yourself, man, if it gives you an advert.
Literally just mute yourself on TeamSpeak and then that'll be fine. Don't mute us. Don't
Don't turn sound off. That would be very
just
bad.
mute your mic.
Yeah. And by the way, we didn't really go over camera work with you.
I did.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to follow the action. That's basically it.
Yeah.
The mini-map is small though, isn't it?
Microphone activated.
Actually, it might be good if you could increase it. Yeah. Thinking about
Are we live again, by the way?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Good.
We might
Yes, we
be
are,
live.
because I can hear myself. Alright.
Good.
We are indeed ready. Okay.
Right. So the game... Alright, they're about to start.
Yeah, but well, they're just going to do the random picks in chat, I believe. They're going to try and stick to the 90 seconds. Of course, in the past, we have had people literally take 5 minutes just to make a really educated decision on their pick, which is,
what they're doing
not
is they're
ideal.
emailing pro players. You can imagine that, though. I mean, there's a team from Curse. Like, alright, guys, what do you think?
Let me just make this phone call and...
What?
What?
I wasn't listening. What?
It's fine. It wasn't even relevant.
Good.
Yeah, good.
I have no idea what the time at PST is right now.
I believe it's 11 a.m. because it's currently 6 p.m.
Wait, no,
UK.
but it's Eastern Standard Time that it was announced in.
Right.
So PST is different from that, I think, unless I'm wrong.
Oh.
So
Right,
I have no
let's
idea.
not dwell on it too much because my mind will explode. Instead, let's get into the picks and bans, which would probably be more efficient.
Tristana. There is a ban. Take me through it.
Okay. Tristana is an interesting ban. We don't really see Tristana banned at all. I mean, we do see Tristana picked and not banned at all. It's an interesting ban, purely because of Blaze of the Ruined King. Sin Jazz is really well with Tristana's kit. Sin Jazz is well with pretty much every AD carry, to be honest. But Tristana could be particularly nasty. Her hard engage early game, especially with that Bilgewater Cutlass, can be very, very nasty in that bot lane. Of course, her E as well will reduce healing. It's interesting ban. I guess it's more preference. There may be someone on the enemy team who is particularly good with Tristana, but it's not a common ban.
Well, I think what I like about Blade of the Ruined King on Tristana particularly, I mean, firstly, obviously it's an on-hit proc, and her Q is, on-hit heaven because it gives you a huge amount of bonus attack speed. So you can actually max Q second, get quite a lot of attack speed quite early, and obviously do a lot more damage to the high health bruises that are currently quite common. Which obviously makes it sort of shores up her mid game. And the other thing is that it also has that active on it, which really increases her burst. So she still has that Blade of the Ruined King active. So it means her mid game kind of carries on for a little bit, like a little less time. Like she essentially, Tristana's normal power curve, if you go like Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, is that she has a very strong early game because she has really strong abilities that don't scale off AD, so she falls off very hard in the mid game, and then late game she comes back again because she gets this huge range, she gets this huge damage just from getting AD carry items, and she has one of the strongest AD steroids in the game. But until she gets several items, she isn't really worth that much in terms of auto attacks. But Blade of the Ruined King kind of covers over a lot of her weaknesses, and it makes her an all-around generally stronger pick. And while we've been waxing lyrical about Tristana, there have now been bans coming out relatively fast. Xerath, Zed, Akali, and Elise. So I think 3 of the bans are kind of on a very similar trend, but Xerath is a bit of an uncommon one.
Yes, indeed. Xerath is a fairly uncommon ban. I have seen him banned maybe a couple times in the EU scene in some of the games we've been casting, and it's purely down to his burst. His ultimate does a huge amount of damage. His entire rotation is probably, I think, the highest AP ratio of any AP carry out there, certainly in terms of burst mages. And he is very reliant on his ultimate. He's not a poke champion as a lot of people see him, he's more of a burst mage, and he does do a lot of damage, and that's AoE as well. If he hits 2, 3, maybe even 4 people with his ultimate, they're all going to die, because there's no damage reduction such as like a Piltover or something. It's all just flat damage, and it will hurt a lot. Mainly because of the penetration from his locus of power, which is something that has just gotten really, really strong. It's not so much that he's been buffed or been banned, it's purely because of the way that items have changed and penetration has changed, and that has not changed at all. Xerath has just not changed, so he's fitting in really, really nicely with the item changes, with how the meta's sort of moving. So Xerath's damage output right now is pretty scary.
Yeah, and I think Xerath is one of those characters who is really quite, I hesitate to say, but clunky to play. But once you kind of got it down, once you know when to root yourself in place and land that ultimate, that's really when you start to master the character, and it's all about positioning. But obviously, if you have someone who can do it, he can ruin an entire team. Zed, Akali, Elise are all kind of bursty, assassin-ish types of characters. Elise tends to get a bit tankier. Akali could do either, really, get tanky or not, but is kind of dependent on having someone else to dive into the squishy enemies with her, because she can't really 100-0 someone quite as strongly. But if she can stick, she will do a lot of damage over a longer period of time than most assassins. And Zed is obviously just really strong, pretty slippery, and his burst is huge late game. I mean, he just gets to the point where he will gib and a half an AD carry, which is huge, especially considering he can go in untargetable. Kayle being the third ban makes a lot of sense. Kayle right now is still very, very strong. She did get nerfed recently, but that ultimate is always going to be game-changing no matter what they do to her. And she still has some very strong early damage, which scales pretty well. It's more sustained damage than most mages, but I mean, her sheer utility makes up for it, to be honest. And first pick Rumble, which apparently incites anger, which I presume is because Fire plays Rumble?
Maybe. I mean, the Google team seemed pretty angry about that pick. So yeah, Rumble's an interesting first pick. He's a lane bully. He's very, very difficult to deal with most top laners. Essentially, he's just a lane bully in the same way that Kayle is. He should push them out without jungler intervention. He's just a difficult pick to deal with. Vi, Leona will be the next couple of picks from Google. Vi probably going to be in the jungle. Leona going to be down in that bot lane. Could be Leona jungle. We did see that in the LCS. I have personally done that myself as well. Hipster glasses on. It's quite good. It's not the strongest of jungles, I'll be honest, but it is very, very fun. Vi, lots of damage early. Mid game, it doesn't exactly fall off. She's a very well scaling bruiser. Does lots of damage. Scales well. She has received some recent nerfs, but her initiation is really good. She's just overall very, very strong. All her components of her kit work really well together. And then Leona is just a very aggressive bot lane. So bringing out that Leona first really sort of sets the tone for that bot lane, and it's really up to Epic. I'm going to be saying that all game now. Whether what they want to pick down in that bot lane to try and mitigate that Leona's heavy engage, because generally you'd like to maybe pick that poke lane, or maybe even Janna with a well-timed Howling Gale to counteract that Leona's Zenith Blade. But the next couple picks will be Jarvan 4 and Lulu.
So Jarvan the Fourth, I've got to be honest, I'm not that surprised he's been picked. Jarvan the Fourth and Xin Zhao, who I wouldn't be surprised if he was picked up on the other team, are currently the junglers du jour. Kind of Vi, he's also in that actually, so might be Vi instead of Xin. But yeah, as we've seen kind of in the LCS, it's pretty much League of Jarvan the Fourth versus Vi or Xin Zhao in the jungle at the moment. They just basically nerfed a lot of the characters, but Jarvan the Fourth's burst is pretty strong. His initiation is pretty strong. His CC is strong. He's just generally all around a really solid pick, and he particularly works well with hard CC in the lanes. So I think the classic example is, I think, what Curse were running in the LCS. I think they were running Jarvan the Fourth jungle, and they were running Taric in bot lane, which just made it so hard to live. If you got stunned and Jarvan was somewhere nearby and you didn't know, flash, flag and drag, you've suddenly got no armor thanks to Shatter and no armor thanks to the dragon, Dragon Lance thingy, which his Q.
Dragon Strike.
And yeah, that thing. So he basically just does huge damage, and then the follow-up is made even more dangerous by the Armor Shred. Nasty thing to deal with. And we are having some slight problems in chat, and they're talking, and now I can't see the pics because I'm doing this part from the stream. So Irelia and Ezreal are the next picks. I know that.
Yes,
it was Lulu. It was Lulu. Lulu with Jarvan, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yes, right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense basically because Lulu really fits well with Jarvan the Fourth style. If you have Jarvan the Fourth go in with Flag and Drag, Cataclysm, holding them all in place, Lulu then ults him, knock everyone else up around that. It's that kind of AoE CC combo that they've got. As well as obviously Lulu just generally being very, very solid. Poke, initiation, running away, keeping people alive. She just has an all-around strong kit.
Yes, indeed. I really like that Jarvan and Lulu pickup. It's just like Cataclysm straight into that wild growth. It just locks people down for so long and kind of makes up for a bit of Jarmander's lack in the fact that everyone can just walk through his ultimate nowadays. With most of the skills, which is less than ideal. But next couple of pickups will be, let me just scroll, Irelia and Ezreal. Okay, and that will be from Google. So Irelia top, interesting. Don't really see too much Irelia anymore after she got really hit with the last nerf, and the way the meta's really gone. I mean, Heart of Gold is no longer a thing, and she's just kind of fallen out of favor when there's a lot of strong top laners nowadays with like Jace, Jax, some of the big ones. And the same thing with like Nunu as well. Nunu top has just fallen out of flavor just because of the way the items have just fallen. The same with, well, not the same with Ezreal, because Ezreal was still really, really strong. Most people are maxing Q nowadays because the W does not actually reduce any reduce the attack speed anymore. So you might as well just invest heavily into that Q. The extra damage early game. Ezreal just again really strong kit. Arcane Shift is essentially like a flash, but even more janky. And yeah, his kit is essentially quite strong. And the next couple of weeks will be Flux and Caitlyn.
Flux. I think that's
Flux.
a program I use to make my screen go slightly oranger at night, so that I don't ruin my eyes. But Lux Caitlyn, that's essentially saying we are never going to let you engage on us. We want to poke you forever. We want to siege towers. We don't want a full-on team fight unless we're already at a huge advantage. Both of those characters have a common theme between them, and that's being really annoying if you're trying to engage on them, and also having very long range and very long range poke. They're both also fairly strong early. I mean, Caitlyn is obviously a very strong early AD carry, and may even be the strongest. But she's because she has that range, she's just, you know, crazy card to deal with in that bottom lane. Lux is less of a lane bully, but she does have, you know, some pretty decent early burst, and obviously has that early crowd control, which makes it a lot easier to gank for you. I mean, that's actually a consideration you really have to think about, is always do your lanes synergize well with your jungler? Can you set them up for ganks? Can jungler set you up for kills? It's synergization. Is that a word?
Synergization. Might as well be.
It's close enough to a word that I think I could have just said it and gotten away with it.
You could have just been like, oh, they synergize, but synergization.
Well, you know. But yeah, that's actually looking like a very nice composition actually by Epic. They have a kind of poke, disengage, but then hard engage when at an advantage composition. They have the ability to peel extremely well. They have that Lux, they have the Caitlyn, they have that Lulu to keep people away. But then when they decide it's time to go in, they've got that Jarvan, they've got that Rumble ultimate. They can go in hard and they can make it really count. So yeah, I actually really like that composition from Epic. That's super well thought out. And Google, TF, Ezreal, Leona, Vi, Irelia. Yeah, I think they are looking to engage. Maybe a bit with having Leona, having Vi, having Irelia, all of those really aggressive characters. TF is just a generally all-around strong pick, has that CC in mid lane, has that ability to make all of your lanes snowball if it goes to plan. And obviously Ezreal is just a very safe AD carry pick. Can also follow up fairly well on these kinds of hard engages, because he doesn't need bruises to peel for him. He can just keep himself going pretty strongly, all on his own. And it looks like we have everyone in the lobby now, I think. Maybe?
Yep, I think we do, and we should be ready to go fairly shortly. We are indeed ready. And yeah, we should be launching into the Champion Select. They should be just picking up those picks. Hopefully they won't ban out one of the opposing picks, which has happened before, and then someone has to quit out, which quite sucks, honestly.
That's always a bit
twice,
awkward.
didn't it? Like the lobby failed like twice, and it was just like,
Yeah. Please fix this problem. This is annoying.
Yeah.
But they have fixed the champions all being banned on one side.
They have.
This is important.
This is important. I am happy with this development. So they should be picking out what they should be picking. I think that's fairly obvious. I don't think that needs to be said.
Sure? Are you sure they're picking what they're picking?
Man. They're just
I'm not sure they're picking what they're
their
picking.
picks now and just launch because why not?
Can we just pick a Lily, Vicky? To pick what? Wait, no. Can I lick your pick? No. Help picks.
Help. Anyway, there's something to note. Something interesting about the teams is that if I actually just open.
If I just open up my documents of interesting things about teams with which to filter, I mean, what?
Well, no, this is from my knowledge that I am speaking from.
I believe you.
So Epic, 7 wins, 0 losses currently in the league. This is the round robin stage, of course. Google is 7-1. So both of these teams, well, excluding Google, who has already lost 1 game, are pretty high in the rankings, honestly. So
both of these teams, apart from one of these teams.
Yes.
That's well put. It's really smooth. Yeah,
they're good.
They both.
That's what I'm trying to put across.
Well. I get the idea, even if I am telling you you're bad at things.
Thank you, Spuddington. Thank you.
Trolling me. You wouldn't ever pick Loaf.
Loaf.
Has anyone else noticed this? Olaf is one swap the first 2 letters, and he is Loaf.
Loaf. He's bready.
That's all you need to. Yeah.
God. Please do not start the bread puns again.
Oh my god, that's the worst thing.
We actually did that was a gimmick once. We went into the game and just spoke bread puns all day.
Nothing but bread puns. We entered into it was like a normal game and we were just like, I'm ready for anything. Looks like you got loathed? No.
There's no way.
Don't get baked or so. It was appallingly bad puns. Like the worst you've ever heard. Like some of them didn't even really make any sense as bread puns. Like aware as we were of the context. So I was just left with the impression that the people in our game were just thinking, what? They weren't laughing or really going like, these people are retarded, get out. They were just going, what?
Are you okay? Help.
I don't understand.
And if you would like to start the bread puns, go ahead and do that in chat.
Please don't.
You will get a medal. It will be a virtual medal. It won't be that. It will be the seal of approval.
They're trolling with summoners. I'm upset.
They are doing that. Or they could actually be doing revive, ignite, one-man army, Lux.
That is true. The best way to play Lux, you see, is to run in, not use any of your range advantage, and do all your bursts, then revive and run back in again.
Yes.
When you're going in close, you can use the ignite as well. It gives you more burst, see.
Right. And this is coming from a Lux I found over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I played Lux once. It didn't go well.
I don't think I was in that game, and I'm quite happy I wasn't.
Actually, to be fair, no, I think I played her twice recently, because I was like, well, everyone else seems to be playing Lux, maybe I should give this a try. And it worked out alright.
Okay. Did you go 0-12?
No, well, I was playing Dominion, and I was against bottom lane Tarek.
Oh, I wasn't.
You were in that game. I spent the entire game in a pushing war with Tarek where neither of us could kill the other one. He built a Spirit Visage, which meant any harass I did to him, literally a full combo would take off about half his health, which he would heal in 2 heals, which was shorter than my cooldowns. And anytime he tried to harass me, I would shield, and both ticks of the shield would completely prevent him doing any damage to me, even if he used his ultimate and full combo. So it was a pushing war, and both of us could tank the creep lines.
That sounds
dumb.
good.
That was the stupidest game I've ever been in.
Also, 1/3 in IRC has just thanked you for your advice for Lux, and he's now going to pawn with Lux.
He's going to wait, no, I'm assuming you mean PWN, not the other one.
The other one.
Well, the way you said it, I'm afraid, came out as a different word. So
I kind of meant PAWN, as in like pawn shop.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna sell Lux, and I suppose that comes out as something even better, right? So anyway, moving off this track, which is going to end with us being removed from this this AHGL slot. There are things in this game that are happening right now, but we can't see them, so we have to talk about other stuff. But I'm running out of things to talk about. This is a problem. Please tell me something to talk about. Wait, we should look at runes and masteries.
We should.
That's actually something we can do
like a
that's
minute.
relevant.
All right. Do you want to pick someone?
No. Yes, I'll pick Lulu.
I choose you, Lulu.
It makes sense.
All right. So Xerox, if you want to go ahead and just click the little portrait, then you might be able to go into the runes and masteries as we talk about them, and that will be AHGL, which will be 1.5 mana regen per 5, 13 mana resist at level 18, so that'll be scaling mana resist, 5 gold per 10, which will probably be from the seals, I would assume. Yes, they are. 4.2 armor and 5.2 magic penetration.
That's it's a bit of an interesting one, actually. I mean, it's very uncommon to see people run split stats within their slots. I mean, magic penetration on Lulu does make some sense. She does do a lot of magic damage, especially early on. I mean, her damage for a support is extremely high. And I can see why you'd go for gold quints. I can see sort of why you'd go for gold seals. They both give you a lot of extra gold. It's just very nice to have as a support, gets you your aura items faster. But the problem with that is that by virtue of having those seals, you're missing out on a lot of armor. And she's not even compensating by filling in the mark slots with armor. So Lulu here is going to be extremely vulnerable to being bursted down if she's up against someone doing AD, which does lead me to wonder if they're planning a lane swap. Because, I mean, there's also the possibility that, they're not, but, they're against Ezreal Leona. If they're assuming they both go bot, assuming both bot lanes, quote, quote, go bot, then Ezreal Leona versus Caitlyn Lulu. Yeah, they're going to be playing the poke game. They're going to be trying to keep them away, but there's always that possibility that Leona will land a Zenith Blade, at which point Lulu would be extremely burstable. Whereas they could put Caitlyn Lulu top against Aurelia, who is actually a fairly good 1v2 laner, but so is Rumble. He's not very good at farming under tower, but he can farm well enough, and he can also start to sustain through stuff by putting some points into his shield. And I'm hearing TeamSpeak pings, which is slightly odd. I left myself on another TeamSpeak.
Yeah, you did do that.
Does
also,
look like
one problem at the moment,
screen.
1 second, is that our streamer is having a problem with the game because it is just like crash, which also happened to me, to be fair. So all you have to do is go ahead and relog and see how that works out. So currently we're on the break screen.
I will do the casting.
Well, I'm in the game, but we just don't have any video. So yeah. So anyone who's wondering, that is what
Practicing
happening.
radio
That is what
voice.
happening.
That is what's happening.
That what happening, bro.
Really bad at accents.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, Tomato Orange here is in a bit of a risky spot, actually. One-man army could check that brush with a light binding, at which point he has actually taken Mystic Shot as well. I think we might see a very dead Ezreal.
Ezreal! I fear for Ezreal's life. I fear for Leona's life.
He's sitting in the circular brush, and Lux is in the brush
Trap's gone
across
down,
from him.
and we have the flag and drive flash over the wall. Yarius not in a great position now as Jarvan follows up as well. Also attacks come down, maybe looking for some more flashes to come out. Yarius might be in the clear here. They're not actually committing anything else. Ward goes down slightly too far to the north. I'm not sure if that will actually see the blue buff. Might see one of the lizards, and Leona will escape with her life. And a lot of people from that Epic team not willing to commit their flashes to that Leona kill.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit strange. I mean, if you can deny Leona her flash, that actually makes their bottom lane power a lot lower. Leona very much thrives on making flash plays, with particularly synchronizing with the jungler. If she can get that flash zenith blade, land that up, set up the jungler for that obvious kill, then that really suits her playstyle. So if you can deny her that flash, that actually really reduces their ability to gank bottom lane. And it does look like they are actually both going bot lane. Both bot lanes are going bot lane, shockingly. Shocking.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are seeing Smiteless red buff on Vi and Smiteless red buff on Jarvan. That we might be seeing. Oh, and Red Knight has disconnected. That's not a good thing.
Indeed. I think he also had some problems in the client itself, so we have now hit the pause time remaining. Calvincible TF says ZZZ, and then Revenite DC. So there we go. We will be waiting for that. And now, oh, he's reconnected. We don't need to fill in time with terrible bread puns. Fantastic.
Well, we don't have to, because we can actually talk about jungle routes. See, because both of those junglers have both gone for Smiteless red buff. Now what that says to me is that they are going to go straight to blue buff now, take that blue buff, hit level 3, and then they will be running out into top and bottom lanes respectively, making it very difficult for those respective laners to not die. And Jarvan in particular, I can see why he's doing that. Rumble versus Aurelia. Rumble has a very weak levels 1 to 3. He has a very weak levels 1 to 3. But post level 3 or so, he's going to start making it very difficult for Aurelia to farm out that lane until maybe Aurelia hits level 9, assuming she hasn't been denied too hard. She's not going to be able to do all that much against Rumble. So obviously if Jarvan can get a gank going, although he actually went in mid, and I'm done.
Yeah, that did happen. He's now backing off, and Vi wasn't able to do anything bottom because there was a ward there, and indeed top lane as well. Ravenite maybe looking to do something on Raffles as he just turns the corner. No, Ravenite just looking for that going to happen mid against one-man army. He's fairly far back though. It is, of course, a looks. The lane is pushing though. Invincible looking for that stun will go down. Ravenite popping out the Vault Breaker, but I doubt anything's going to happen. He's going to retreat back to that turret. And meanwhile, top lane, I would expect to see Rumble take a very early advantage against Irelia, and it just seems that's happening. Meanwhile, bottom, we do have a flash from Yarius, forcing the anomaly back. In fact, that wasn't a flash from Yarius, that was his Q. That was just me being bad.
His Q?
It was.
I could see you getting mixed up with Z, really.
Indeed, but we do have a Jarvan coming in with a flag and drag, landing onto Yarius. There's a flash into the exhaust as well. First blood picked up by Lulu. Tomato Orange trying to come back in here just for a little more damage on his auto attacks, but he will be forced back. His mini wave is coming in though, so he should be good to go, and Caitlyn might be wanting to go back. She is fairly low, does not have any sort of sustain. She has Lauren's Blade, 5 HP on hit. Not a lot of sustain early on.
It's not too bad actually early on. It's when it starts to fall off, later on, because you get more health, so it becomes proportionally less.
Yeah.
And you're actually seeing it quite a lot recently. People starting with just a Doran's Blade, particularly if they have an aggressive poking lane, because they can just make it impossible for the other person to ever really engage on them to do damage, for fear of being all in return, which would just flat out kill them because the guy has a Doran's Blade.
But meanwhile, top, we do have Ravenite looking for this gang. Lands the Vault Breaker, flash from Frozen Fire into that stun. Black Mamba flashing out of there into the Scrap Shield. He should be good to go. And we will have Vi just backing off.
Yeah, so I think we're starting to see...
We'll hold that thought because meanwhile mid we have a stun. Sorry, the binding from Lux. And Calvin's will try to get out of here. Flag and Drag went down from Raffles, will be juked. Juking to that brush now. He's gonna get out of there. Flag and Drag. Now just be the Dragon Strike, and then how?
No, that's got a Dragon Flag.
that was the Dragon Flag. Yeah, that's right.
The well-known Dragon Flag. Flag kill. You have been posted. So yes. So Rumble currently 17 CS to Aurelia's 18. Aurelia did actually start with a Fortitude elixir though, so she may be looking for some kind of aggressive all-in, perhaps looking to get strong a little earlier than I had expected her to. because obviously that Fortitude Elixir is a very, very efficient item while it lasts, which can sort of propel you to a level of power beyond what you would normally expect to have at that stage of the game. And it can actually also be used in some fantastic baits because it actually adds health to you, rather than taking it, yeah, I did actually jump to live. I did forget about that. So yeah, it can actually help you to bait people in by increasing your health. And it increases it all in 1 second. It's not like a health potion where it does it over time. You just suddenly you get an extra 100 health, which is actually really, really alarming, especially considering it ignores grievous wounds. We've actually got Vi coming in at top. Vault Breaker goes down, hits Black Mamba. He's going to take a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious there.
Just a couple of housekeeping issues. One, Zarx, you will need to jump to live if you haven't done it already. And meanwhile, bottom, we did have Lulu picking up another kill on to Yarius.
Edward, is that you?
That was a fed, Lulu.
Highly fed. Well, now the magic pen makes a lot of sense.
It
get
does.
all the kills.
Also, the second thing I want to mention before any more action goes down, which we probably will in the next couple of seconds, is that we didn't actually introduce ourselves or introduce the teams. So we should probably do that now. I'm Pulse. I'm joined by Spuddington. How are you doing, Spuddington?
Lovely. It's lovely.
Good.
Isn't it?
Okay. That's out of the way. So now we have Epic versus Google. Google on the. And in fact, we do have someone going aggressive on the Edward Chaos, and he will be backing up because he's out of mana. On the right-hand side, we do have Frozen Fire. That is from Google. And the left-hand side, which will be Blue Team, is a one-man armies team, which is Epic. Yes.
Epic.
Got that
Smooth.
right. Good.
Smooth.
By looking
We've
back,
actually got
we'll have Calvin's ball popping in with the ultimate. That will be Destiny. Ultimate comes down with the equalizer from Backman, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, because it's probably too after with Transcendent Blade. Calvin's ball picking that one up with an auto attack, and they will be backing off. We do have Lux coming up as well, probably just pick up that farm, and Jarmander will be returning mid.
Okay. You were going quite fast there.
I was.
Trying to fit in
all
on
the as well.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed. But maybe your rhubarb is doing that to you. I don't.
Could be custard.
Whatever it is. But anyway, Ravenite now, having taken Rumble out, is looking to actually get that Vault Breaker down onto one-man army. Can't really follow it up though. That's kind of the power of Lux. Very difficult for a Bruiser to get aggressive on her. And now Rumble's back in, so they've actually delayed that blue steel long enough that it's not going to happen. Calvincible and Frozen Fire both going back. And Tomato Orange is currently in a bit of an awkward spot in that he's sort of solo bot. Isn't really ideal. Actually ulting the creep wave there, taking a lot of damage though. He's got to be careful. Yeah, that Piltover, if it had hit, he would be dead. Didn't actually land though, so he's alright. He is going to have to go back though, and the owner has been sort of roaming around mid, possibly looking to set up a gank or something, possibly just warding for Calvincible. Not really going to be doing all that much with that though, and Tomato Orange is in a bit of a sticky situation here. He does not have the health to risk taking any hits, but at the same time he really doesn't want to fall behind on XP and gold, so he's forced to sort of stick around on such low health. We actually had one-man army looking for that dive. Did back out though because they knew TF had gone missing. Speaking of which, Destiny is still on another, what, 30 seconds cooldown? Yeah, about 30 seconds left on that. So that could suddenly make things happen. The game is settling down a little bit now, I think.
It is, as we potentially get Vi ganking bot lane. It's not going to happen, she's going to go hand back up. But I guess the idea with Leona roaming mid is the fact that she didn't feel she could do anything on bot lane. Couldn't hard engage on that lane who was already quite far ahead. The quite scary Lulu. So setting up ganks elsewhere made sense in that respect, but it will be pushing Tomato Orange further back. We may have Jarmander looking for this gank, bearing a remarkable resemblance to a Pokemon. Tomato Orange is backing off to his turret. This might happen, it might not. We have a fairly difficult lane to pin down, but we do have the ultimate coming in from the TF, going into that top lane onto Black Mamba, and this is not a happy situation. We have a teleport coming in, however, from one-man army, nice line binding, warp pin down, Frozen Fire, Equalizer goes down, ultimate, that'll be the final spark, will miss, and nobody picks up the kill on Yori's, meanwhile, bottom, Ravenite coming in on top, one-man army, pushed back with Vault Breaker, and the punch to the face, ooh, finishing that one off. And over the board, that would be 1-2, and many people on quite fatal HP.
Yeah, what happened at bot, meanwhile, when the moment the TF ult came in, Jarvan went straight in, hard engaged onto the two of them. They went for that dive, Jarvan tanked most of the tower shots, took out Leona and Ezreal pretty summarily, actually. Like, not too much worry for them at that point. So, yeah, with that, I suddenly don't know what to say. Top tower is probably going to go down now, having taken out Rumble, and that's probably good from their perspective. Irelia still wasn't really strong enough, although she's done a very, very good job of farming out that lane, actually, coming out ahead of Rumble. And that's kind of one of the strengths of Irelia. She can play really passively, and still come out decently relevant with, you know, not as much farm as she'd like, but not bad either. And we've actually got Frozen Fire here going in mid. One man army taking a lot of damage, getting stunned. Ignite goes down. Jarvan actually following in. Lux Laser goes down, but it only hits Frozen Fire. He's going to be just walking out though. Pretty much everyone going down, you know, about one full health bar's worth, but sort of spread across everyone. So nothing much too serious there.
That was an interesting way of putting it there. One health bar among everyone.
Well, sort of one health bar aside, I'd say. I mean, Invincible took about, you know, third, Frozen Fire about a bit more than half. But yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah, well, I run on gist and circumstance, and we're going to see 3 men going bot now. Ravenite taking the Electro Harpoon to the face. Actually, we've got the Owner ult going down, but they're not going to be engaging on that off the back of... So, yeah, said a dirty word.
We don't talk of that.
So anyway, Raffles just going to be sitting around at bot here. I doubt they'll be looking to really pressure that tower. Light Binding misses. And the Anomaly takes that bottom tower down. Black Mamba doing a bit of damage to Frozen Fire here. Equalizer goes down. He's going to follow that up. Burninating Frozen Fire completely out of there. Ezreal, meanwhile, looking to ult the Anomaly. Does hit, but doesn't take him out. Yarius walking straight into Black Mamba and Edric Chaos. He's going to be having to back up. Flash over the wall. He's going to get out of there for now. And the Anomaly takes out the Ravenite while all that was going on. So that is a 2-0. And looking like the Dragon is also going to be going to Epic here. So
good
they are taking a commanding lead here.
Indeed, I'm also suffering from an interesting bug where I can't actually get out of directed camera and I can't free roam, no matter what I do while being in manual camera. It's kind of interesting. I was talking to someone yesterday who had this bug, and I didn't know what to do, and now I have the similar bug and it's not good.
I think if you reload the client, it should work. I doubt there'll be a team fight in the next 20 seconds. I know it's awkward, but I can cover for you.
Right, I trust in you, Spuddington.
I mean, if you're forced to rely on direct camera, you're going to miss action anyway.
True fact.
Freak. I mean, dirty words, dirty words. So, anyway, the Anomaly is taking golems. Yes, that is how exciting things are right now. There is certainly a gold gap opening up right now. Epic has, what, nearly 3,000 gold over... it's not EA. It's not EA. I constantly say EA at the wrong times. So, Google. Epic... Wait. No, I can't. I've got the same bug as you. Are you kidding me? I'm on direct camera now as well.
No problem, Spuddington. I will cover for you.
Well, how did this...
I don't know.
How does that even work? I pressed spacebar and it locked on.
Yeah.
But spacebar is supposed to swap between areas of action.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to close it.
Okay.
So, right. Carry on. Gold advantage.
Okay, good. Gold's advantage is currently 2k to Epic. That's a thing. I can't read your mind, so I'm not sure what you were going to say. But meanwhile, at top we have Frozen Fire getting aggressive on Black Mamba. And interestingly enough, the tower has currently gone down, and Irelia is currently ahead in that lane. Rumble, who is this lane bully, has been pushed out by these constant ganks. And Irelia, who is the strongest scaling sort of damage dealer and just general bruiser, is getting quite scary. She's not being pushed out. She's 0, 1, and 2 at the moment, but she hasn't been shut down. She's got 77 farm, which is ahead of Rumble, and as long as she keeps going in the way that she is, then she'll reach that stage where she becomes a murder machine. And the horrible thing about champions like Irelia, like Jax, is they will eventually become a murder machine, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. All you can do is prolong the inevitable, or maybe end the game before that happens. Irelia doesn't lose, she just runs out of time. So,
yeah, pretty much.
Moving on mid, we have people just poising, maybe looking to do some sort of initiate as Raffles goes in with a flag and drag, and Frozify being pushed out by the side as well. This is not the situation he wants to be in. 1v5 situation. He's been forced to engage, nevertheless. Flash over the wall will keep him alive. Flash into Cataclysm from Raffles. Will be pinning that one down, and Black Mamba picking up his first kill. Calvincible will be taken down. The Inner Ultimate coming in. One-man army kept alive by that Wild Growth, forcing the Yarius to back off. Oliver comes down onto Tomato Orange. Goods. Duke Vibrant will keep him alive, but Yarius will sacrifice himself. And that middle turret should be going down. That was a 3-for-1 trade. And I don't think Tomato Orange can do anything about this. I can't think of a vegetable pun.
They aren't even vegetables. I think tomatoes are fruit.
Ooh,
but so they are. Yeah, no, I don't see him being able to do anything here. If he's very, very lucky, maybe he could land a couple of Qs, maybe get someone low enough to look to kill them. But no. And Lux Laser misses, which is fortunate because that might well have killed him. So yeah, that's one of the things you always have to be careful about when you're against the Lux. Obviously, it's just that laser from behind a wall that will just murder you. Rather surprisingly, though, only one tower taken from quite a serious and convincing win. And actually, we've got Ravenite getting bound mid-Vault Breaker there. Not immune to CC during that ability. Yeah, not too serious of a loss, that one tower, but they did lose that team fight fairly convincingly. I just looked at Aurelia's build, which is like, it's almost a pattern now. So,
yes, yeah, it's pretty.
It is pretty. She's going Blade of the Rune King, which is actually a good point. Blade of the Rune King is probably very, very good on Aurelia.
Yeah.
Might be why she's seeing more popularity here. Ravenite not going to be using that Vault Breaker there. So, as I say, they are, however, losing these fights fairly convincingly. Google, that is. So, what is their strategy here? Well, for one thing, actually, not getting picks here like the Anomaly, getting caught out, Equalizer goes down, going to be taken out fairly quickly. We've got the TF ult, and then we've actually got one-man army teleporting in. Ravenite getting bursted down very, very quickly. She's going to go down. Frozen Fire also goes down. So yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work out. They did get a pick. Then they all sort of died after that. Yeah. But what they want to do is get picked.
That's Spuddington.
Well, that's the power of having a teleport on your mid laner. Having someone who can just come in from any situation it's incredibly powerful. I mean, TF is actually a very substandard character if you look at everything apart from his ult. But the simple fact of the matter is, having that global teleport on an even shorter cooldown than Summoner teleport is what makes him a viable character. He's incredibly strong. But so Google there suffered quite a nasty defeat. It's kind of unavoidable at this point that they're going to lose fights that they don't start at an advantage, because they don't have anything to really mitigate that AoE, and they're already behind. So against that Rumble ultimate, against that Lux ultimate, against that Jarvan ultimate, against that Lulu ultimate, it's going to be very, very hard for them to try and, disengage. Obviously, they do have Ezreal, who's fairly slippery, and we've actually got Yarius getting light bound there. Electro Harpoon goes down. He's going to get burned. Doesn't actually go down though. Lux Laser goes down, misses. We've actually got Chaos everywhere. Frozen Fire jumping on the Anomaly, taking him out. Ezreal ult goes down, but Frozen Fire is going to go down to TF. Wildcards is always everybody. Got Vi jumping into the middle of him, chasing off Rumble. Raffles getting held in place by Yarius. Can't take him out in time. Equalizer goes down. Calvincible chasing down Lulu here. He's got a stun card for her face. It hits. Is he going to be able to take her out? No. Exhaust goes down, and Ravenite is stealing red.
Excellent. So that was currently, in total, that was a 2-1 trade in favour of Google. No. Yes, Google. And they will be taking Drake off the back of that one. Say nothing. So Ravenite just popping over the wall and has picked up that red as well. Will be considering that, in fact. Will not have the time for it. and they will have the talent for a dragon. I will not be recording that because my memory is a goldfish. So Calvinchwell will be going for that blue buff. Yeah. I would commentate this, but only if it's Ari, because I found that when it's Ari taking blue buff manages to juke like everything all the time. It's like a thing.
I've not noticed that, to be honest. I think
Just
I may
watch
have
Ari
noticed it
take
and
the
then
blue
forgotten
buff.
about it.
Be like, damn, that blue buff.
He's pro blue buff. He wants to stay alive.
He does.
Save the blue buff. Fun.
I think there was a comic at some point which has an Ari taking blue buff. I can't remember what it was though. I think it was like Sirach getting like fat. I don't know. Have you seen those Sunday comics? It's on LOL, the LOL Facebook. They're pretty good.
I don't recall them offhand, but maybe.
They're relevant.
The thing that happens in my mind is that I remember things if I look at them, but otherwise nothing is in my memory at all. It's nice. It means I never remember anything bad.
Or anything good. Or anything. Or where am I?
What?
What?
No,
Let's
we're not doing
not
this in a
start
cast. So, right now, what is happening in this game? That last fight actually went in favor of Google, and I think partly what that was just the strength of Irelia. She jumped right onto the anomaly and basically took him out of the fight while still doing a bit of damage to everyone else and drawing in a huge amount of focus. Meanwhile, everyone else on the team was free to do damage, and actually Frozen Fire there getting a light binding to the face for his troubles. Going to be forced to back out, look for a little bit of healing here. Got even more sustained than a normal Irelia build, because Blade of the Rune King actually has lifesteal on it. So...
Off.
What?
Off.
What?
Derox, you need to jump to live. On the HUD, it will be like next to the thing that says live.
Press J.
And yeah, press J. Because apparently the stream is 2 seconds behind where we're commentating, and that's not a good thing.
That is a bad thing. That is the opposite of good.
Not on XSplit. It's in the client. Off.
Yeah,
Cough.
the game.
Cough. Cough.
So, sometimes me and Pulse have terrible internet, so we actually cannot stream. And we are now seeing some serious pressure going down in mid. Black Mamba looking to poke around there.
Yeah, something I've noticed is that Epic has a very, very strong poke team. They have a very, very strong poke team into a very hard engage team. Like Jarmander, Lulu Ultimate, Equalizer, they just soften them up and then engage, and then they die. It's nice, I like it. And when they get ahead, it's very, very difficult to do anything, because like, there's Piltovers, there's Spears, there's like light bindings, there's Lulu Glitter Lancers, there's bombs, there's it's horrible to deal with.
It basically puts you in a horrible situation in Google where you have to engage as soon as you can see them, because if you let the poke fight go on, although they do have some answering poke, they do have TF, they do have Ezreal, if you let the poke fight go on for too long, unless you outplay them, you're going to fall behind and it's going to become impossible for you to engage. And actually we've got Calvincible there, flag and drag it straight onto him. Ezreal goes down, the one-man army is getting taken very low, but he's going to be able to flash out of that. Same with Ravenite, and Jarius is going to go down, Lux Laser goes down, doesn't take out Tomato Oranges, he's not going to be taken out, but that has put Google into a horrible defeat. Forced back, and this tower is going to go down off that. Didn't say back.
Yeah.
No dirty
anyway, moving on from that, they will be pushing down our middle inhibitor turret, and this is really starting to get bad. I mean, it was bad before, but that was just a straight-up team fight that Google lost, and it's difficult because they're behind, but they can't engage them because they are behind. And if they just sit there and try and turtle, they're going to get poked in. They have a very good turtle cracking team from Epic. They don't have anything in terms of like straight team fighting potential from Google. So what Google need to do is maybe get a pick. I mean, that's always ideal. Maybe just try and ward their own jungle. Of course, it's very difficult with Epic just looming over them. But what they can really hope for is just a pick and try and get a 4v5 team fight. Because right now, they can't beat them in a 5-on-5 because they just don't have the team fighting potential. In terms of scaling, TF sort of okay. Irelia is really, really nice. Vi is really strong late game. Ezreal is an AD carry that just happens naturally, and Leona has the initiate. On the flip side, we have Lux, just pretty decent all the way through the game. Caitlyn sort of scales up in terms of damage. She doesn't have the straight up damage steroid, Rumble, he's not the greatest late game, but he still does a lot of damage. Jarmander is Jarmander, and Lulu, of course, just the utility. So in terms of scaling, he might be able to hold this one out. But again, Turtle Cracking team, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, it's very, very hard for them. The saving grace, though, is that last fight was definitely not on their own terms. It started off with Calvincible getting caught well out of position, getting Jarvan straight onto him, gibbed out of the fight. And TF does quite a lot of damage, depending on how many people he can hit with his wildcards. But in these close-up team fights, he can obviously hit 2 or 3 people if he gets lucky, and it's on a fairly short cooldown. It may not have, for a single skill, wildcards does a lot of damage, but it's kind of his only skill, apart from stun card. That being said, though, TF across a whole team fight can do huge amounts of damage. If he gets gibbed out, though, obviously none of that happens. So it's still possible for Google to win team fights. They did demonstrate that in the lower jungle, but right now they've been outmaneuvered. They didn't have the wards down, and it looks like Epic taking a free tower, just going to be increasing that gold lead and their positioning advantage a little bit more. And as I say, I think honestly it's in their best interest to just try and engage, try and make something favourable happen, because the longer this poke fight goes on, the further behind they fall. Unless they maybe all get home guard boots or something, I don't know. We have, however, the horrible situation though is who engages here, because if they put themselves out of position, what are they going to do? Tomato. How? What's the cooldown on that Lux ultimate, by the way? 42 seconds. Well, no, he won't have it back immediately.
So yeah, that's a good thing. You know, only kill him in a minute or so. But actually, I mean 25 seconds. So right now, honestly, Google's call might be just everyone get home guard and just bum rush them. I mean, that might be what they want to be doing at this inhibitor turret. Just try and just launch on them. Because at the moment they have a very good poke composition and they have a lot of disengage. They have the Lux binding. Well, Lux is very good at keeping playing the keep away game. The tasers as well. Caitlyn with the 90 caliber net, it's just very difficult to engage on, and the glitter lance as well. That's horrible. So they might just want to go for home guards and just launch on them. That might be their call. Maybe wait for Epic to maybe try the Baron attempt. Of course, that is always the comeback opportunity, but really, in the hands of Epic, they just want to just go around the map picking up small objectives. There's nothing that's really forcing them to engage. They can just poke them down, go away, have a tea break, have a couple biscuits, you know? It's just a chill game.
Right now, what I'm suspecting is going to happen is Caitlyn is going to pick up a Vamp Scepter, and that's actually going to be critical, because you saw right there, they backed out from that top in-hit tower because Caitlyn got to about half health from the poke. Once she's got a Vamp Scepter, that's not going to stick. That, you know, you're not going to be able to force them off by poking her down with the Ezreal ultimate, which only comes up so often, you know, for some reason. Ezreal ultimate on a 1 second cooldown. Ah! Well, actually, to be fair, the animations would be longer than the cooldown. But anyway, it actually looks like Epic are thinking about forcing this Baron here, though. They have pink warded it. They might just start it straight off the bat. Leona hanging around though, Liarius actually getting burned, Burnination going down, Glitter Lance has hit, and we've got the follow-up, Wild Growth, and dead.
Yeah.
She is dead. She's quite dead. She's dropped off the twig. Vis-a-vis the metabolic processes she's had a lot. No! Yeah, she's dead. That thing happened involving her death.
Let's just settle
So they are
that,
forcing top tower as a result, because Leona is dead. And we've actually got the Equalizer coming in now.
Equalizer has gone down. He might force something off the back of Flag and Drag goes in. Van Draffle's far ahead of the team, but doesn't matter. Catapult goes down. Carl Vincible flashing out that. Frozen Fire pushing him back, but doesn't matter because Ravman coming in with the ultimate, with Assault and Battery, but he will be taken down immediately by the rest of that team. What can he do? 1 versus 5. Frozen Fire being forced back. Twin Shadows comes out as well, pushing them back once more, and he will be taking down the same into the turret. 4 versus 5. They flash out of the anomaly into the cleanse as well, just in case it landed. Carl Vincible going quite balls deep. And they will keep them away and avert that inhibitor push, but right now that was still not a favourable fight. It's just eventually they will be pushed in, and it sucks.
It's very, very hard. They just have to make some kind of king play. You know, like, I don't know, pull off some kind of Messiah thing with TF where you bait in 2 or 3 ultimates and then Zonya's out of the teleport. You know, that kind of thing. That could turn around a fight. You know, if they can make some play, if they can catch Caitlyn out, give her out, But the problem is they don't have the vision right now. Their top jungle is entirely warded by Epic. They don't have any way of taking the initiative here, and it's just apparent they can't get these fights, and occasionally someone gets picked off on their team, and even if they don't, they get poked down, and now there's 2 open inhibs to force, and if they get caught out, they're done basically. If they lose another team fight, 5 for 2 even, they're probably going to finish off that. That is the situation they find themselves in, and you can see how much effort Epic is putting into vision control there. Just a pink ward, that way Google won't be able to tell what Epic has done if they back out now. They could back out, they could go to Baron, or they could go to the top inhib, or they could go to the bottom tower. They won't be able to tell because of that pink ward. And now we've got Kaelin poking it down, and Lux is laughing. So
yeah,
it looks like they're going to go for it though. We've actually got Ravenite there. Ravenite going in with the ultimate, getting bursted down very, very quickly. Cataclysm goes down, look how invincible. He's going to be taking no damage actually really from that Jarvan, but in the meantime he held him up, and it looks like that fight has gone in the favour of Epic, and we've actually got Flag and Drag not quite able to take him out. Jarvan is super tanky, and I think probably they will finish off the back of that. Lux, stop laughing, please.
This is psychological warfare against Google and the Shellcasters. It's... oh god.
It's horrible.
Alright, I'm moving away from this. I'm not looking at the game finishing, I can't bear it.
Yeah, so Tomato Orange is getting poked down. We've actually got Lulu flashing onto him, squirreled a little bit. Not going to be too worried about that though. Laser goes down, and game over.
GG.
Yeah, that was a really nicely played game by Epic. I mean, they were really on form there, just constantly taking command of the game. And it's just occurred to me that I can't actually see what items people have built.
How did that happen?
Oh, there we go. I must have accidentally hidden it. So yeah, I know it's interesting, isn't it? But yeah, Epic just took command of that game fairly early on, took some lane advantages, and pushed down towers. And once they got to that situation where they were ahead, it was so hard. It was so hard for Google to try and come back into that. They did manage to win that one team fight in the bottom, but then I think they got someone picked off before the next fight, and then they started to just lose tower after tower after tower. Epic would push in, take something, back out, go back in again, and they were always on top, always ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And Lulu never died.
Wow. 5-0-14. That is quite a respectable score for some sort of carry. Well done, Lulu. MVP. But yeah, it was really nice how they moved like a unit. Epic were really just smooth and fluid in the way they moved about the map. Their calls were really good. That was the main thing. Their calls were just, they were good. They just played the keep away game, they played the composition, and when they got ahead, even from that small advantage that they had near the start, Google just couldn't do anything back. It was pretty sad. It wasn't sad to watch, it was a very awkward situation, and I would not like to be in that position myself.
Yeah, it was a really brilliant composition as well. I mean, I don't hate Google's composition. They had a pretty solid picking / poke composition, but I mean, the Epic composition was one of the best I've seen. I mean, just it had things that seemed to be kind of anathema to each other's playstyle on the same team composition. I mean, it had that poke, but it also had that hard engage. It had, disengage, but it had that burst damage. It had everything. That composition was just great. They had everything they could possibly want. I mean, you could run that comp against almost any type of team, and they would still be viable. You could still win the game with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very difficult to pick against. Even if that was just presented to you, you're like, okay, maybe put this here and put that there. But again, it's just difficult. And if it gets ahead, of course, you're just going to have the same scenarios we just had. Also, in that last team fight, we both tried to let each other play by play. And being English gentlemen, we just let each other go first and just stumbled over each other. So that was a thing that happened.
Apologies for that.
Apologies, dear chap.
We're normally pretty good about swapping around, I think.
Yeah.
But still. So that was Epic versus Google, and next week should be the playoffs, I believe.
Indeed. Yes. We will be around for the first playoffs. That would be pretty interesting. Not sure who will be in those playoffs. I assume these two teams will be because they have very, very good wins and loss ratios. However, the week after that, we will be at Insomnia, the largest UK gaming festival. If you're there, say hi to us. So we possibly won't be here for the
Well,
second playoffs. We don't know.
theory, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to, in theory, because we should be able to cast it from the event if there's a gap in the schedule at the event.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But
or we could just be like, stress, solo cast this, and then we just like leave.
Might not be a bad idea. But anyway, of course, then we'll have to organise a streamer. We'll do it ourselves.
Oh yeah, we could. Internet.
Yes, because the actual event has good internet. So, but anyway, I am Spuddington. My co-caster is Pulse.
Hello.
And I believe we have some Facebooks and other links to plug.
Plugging time.
Yes. If you want to hear words from me said about things, I have a Twitter @Spuddington. If you want to hear other words said by me about other things, I have a Facebook, which is on screen now, facebook.com/SpuddingtonCasts, and I have a YouTube /SpuddingtonCasts. It's as if I'm trying to be consistent or something. And Pulse has a couple of other things as well.
Yeah, I am also consistent, and I also talk about things that are related to other things. And that will be facebook.com/watchyourpulse. Same as my YouTube, which is facebook.com/watchyourpulse. I should be putting content up there, but I'm very, very lazy. Please do not go at me about the failcast. Those will be coming up at the,
Yeah, we recorded a failcast about 5 weeks ago now.
More than that.
And Pulse still hasn't edited it and uploaded it. That is how you are so bad.
One day.
Oh dear. But anyway, I have some content that's not so recent either, actually. But that's just because I haven't thought of anything to put up. Well, whatever. It's exciting life. And also it occurs to me that I kind of forgot to mention I would actually be casting this on my Twitter and my Facebook. So I think before we do any more damage to our own reputations, we should probably stop casting now. Our caster for today was me and Pulse. So no, our streamer for today was Melon Wizard, who is helping us out because he is a friendly person. Thank you, Melon.
Thank you.
With that, I think we are done here.
Okay. Alright,
goodbye, NASA. Take us off live.